Looks like 1 minute on my computer, so we'll on the countdown and we'll follow Scott's lead.
2 minutes on it.
Okay. Okay. Uh, So you've got the mute button there.
Okay.
See it right there?
Yep. Is it muted currently?
No.
Not yet, John.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Are you ready to dance?
I'm home. My drugs are starting to wear off, so I might be even loopier than usual.
We sure appreciate you joining us. It is 5:30 by the Zoom camera and computer for our Development and Planning Committee. So I appreciate you all being here in attendance in person and invite those on the Zoom call, John Schultz, to join us. I asked Scott to do a roll call for this meeting on Tuesday, July 23rd at 5:30.
Dittmer,
Hi.
you're here. Schultz. Schultz.
Present in Zoom land.
Lang.
Present.
Ironman.
Here.
Rose. Gallagher.
Present.
Diane. Lynn.
Here.
Okay, I think 4.
We do have a quorum. Thank you very much. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. And there is an easy addition we can make to those minutes. If you go down towards the bottom of the page, under item 3, unfinished business, subletter D was the retrospective committee minutes, and Steve Endress was pleasantly willing to do it, and he has added it. In fact, on the last page of your packet will be Steve's review of the minutes from the April to June. It's actually April and May because we didn't meet in June that year.
I move to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
Thank you. It's been moved by John Schultz, seconded by John Lang, to approve the minutes of June 25th with the addition of Steve Endress's name. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you much. Thank you much. Citizen comments. As we look around the room, we don't see anybody here. It does look like we have someone else that's joined us on Zoom land. I don't know if I can recognize the number or Scott can.
(8899) is Tammy Cahill.
Welcome, Tammy. Thank you very much for joining with us. Is there anything you'd like to say right now under citizen comments?
No, thanks. Not at this time.
We'll give you another opportunity later. Thank you. Moving on to item 5 is the unfinished business. Our strategic goals and plans is not in your packet, but, I will read it to you. The vote at the time of the summer retreat was a development planning would simplify and replace the present zoning ordinance to encourage business. And that go to vote of 44. Number 2 was to attract development to grow the tax base. That got 33 votes. Number 3 was to decrease the 40-acre requirement for residents building on ag land. That had 16 votes. Number 4 was update the records by digitizing documents. That had 10 votes. And number 5 was research capping Airbnb permits in the county, and that received 3 votes. It's interesting, we don't have the comprehensive plan on there, but we do know that that was a major call that we all had in order to move ahead and be cognizant of the goals of people across the county. So I think if anything, if we do these goals again, we have to recognize and add that. Is there any additions or changes, comments you'd like to make on the goals?
Just to clarify, the highest vote was simplify and replace current zoning to attract businesses.
Yes, that had 44 votes. The next one was 33, was attract development to grow the tax base. And if I look at any others. We had 58 votes for constructing a 5-year capital investment plan, but that was for the executive committee. Mike, did you have something different?
Yeah, I lost it. Hold on. It was, I thought it was encourage economic development, 43 votes, but let me look for it.
In the packet on page 5, you have 2023 committee goals.
Yeah, that was from 43 votes. Yeah, thank you.
I was just reading off the executive committee's packet where they usually just put a whole listing of all the goals. I don't think that's drastically different though, would you say, Mike? Just to clarify. Anything that goes along with that, I don't know, this would seem inappropriate at this point. Many of those items fall, like the first one, the simplify and replace present zoning ordinances to encourage business, interact with
So
this
don't touch the red.
zoning board. One suggestion that I'd like you to consider or give me input on is having a joint meeting with the zoning board. Not to take any steps, but just to be on the same page of what they would like to see as an outcome for changes, what they have been contended with. We kind of know that there have been a lot of hearings that have always ended up, the majority have ended up a certain way, but maybe just by listening to what they're seeing and hearing and what they would like to project might be helpful if we had a joint meeting either August, September, or sometime this fall. I'd like comments on that idea.
I'm all right with getting input from them. Obviously, they're the ones that are implementing it, but I still go back to the basic that we are the legislature of the county and our job is to make the laws. It's their job to interpret the laws and to, I don't want to use the word enforce them, but interpret the laws. So do I think we need to meet with them? Because they're the ones implementing it and, we could make a law that's totally, hard to implement. Absolutely. But So as long as we're still making the laws and getting input for them, I'm totally fine with meeting with them.
How about anybody else? Lynn?
I think it's a good idea, but I also have a question. What is page 5? What is this document?
I think Mike will probably get into that. It was,
So that
part
was.
of his proposal that will come later.
Yeah, these are all old from a month or two ago and they're still in the packet and they can be in there. You can see the progress, but we're not gonna go over them. That was brainstorming and some of those, if you keep looking, some of them have been. If you keep going down, well, then they show up again later, that they've been crossed out and stuff, so.
Well, in our,
Like page 11, maybe that might be the right one. No, that's an old, they're all old. So, but I'll answer any questions you have from them, but I'm not gonna go over those today.
I think Mary put those in because when we have an item that's unfinished business, she pulls out whatever was in there from the past.
okay,
So it's just in case you didn't remember what went on in the past, it's a good reminder.
okay. And is there any reason why some's bold and some's not bold? Like, is it for emphasis?
It's just the way I organize my thoughts.
Okay. So the bold is more important?
Yeah, maybe, in my head, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, some of it's like the headings, but like, some of it is definitely what I think is important.
okay, thanks.
The zoning board typically meets on the fourth Wednesday at 7 o'clock. They oftentimes will have so many issues that come before them. Bob, you stated on that, you know how sometimes the meetings can go pretty long. I think Christina said there's only gonna be one item in August, is that right? So that is an opportunity that their meeting would be shorter. So if we were to meet with them, whether we were in attendance at the beginning of their meeting at 7 o'clock, or we just asked them to close out their meeting and then sit around the table to kind of brainstorm and just actually listen to what they have heard from people, what they have contended with. It just would let us all hear from people at the same time. Would you be willing, because this would mean that we would meet on that Wednesday. I don't know that it's appropriate. We probably would still have to have our own meeting on Tuesday if we had enough on the agenda. Would you be willing to meet 2 nights in a row? I see people shaking their hands.
Yes.
Let's do a raise of hands.
Yeah.
Well, you better quit going out dancing so much.
Absolutely, but I would like to make sure there's an agenda so we know what we're talking about, a discussion, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, there would be an agenda, and I'd like to prepare maybe some reviews or something in writing for you, so yes. If that's appropriate, we don't know if the zoning board is open to it, so if anything, we could just ask Christina to offer the invitation and ask them if they would be willing to meet with us, as it may not suit their calendars either. Will you be willing to do that, Christina?
Yeah, I'll ask him tomorrow night.
Okay, so if you want to just pencil it on your calendar,
Have a date?
we could say,
You said
what
the
would you
fourth-
say, 17th?
You said the fourth Wednesday.
Is it the 28th?
Would we need to request a special meeting?
It would have to be a public meeting because we would be in quorum.
We've done it before where you have a joint, we do it every budget where we have joint committee review meetings, so essentially do the same thing. And there's been, I think I can remember an agenda where there was a joint meeting with the Board of Health once and things like that. I can look and find. So,
Yeah, it is that Wednesday, August 28th.
Steve, did you have a question or input?
Yeah, Lynn and I might have a conflict with IT if they have a meeting, but usually they haven't had very many meetings lately, but their meetings usually at 5, so we might be done by then too, so they're usually pretty short when they do have them, so.
Good to know. I wouldn't think their meeting would go very fast. Do they meet here in this building?
We haven't met since Steve resigned.
Because the location makes a difference. Are they meeting here?
We meet in Hanover.
So we'll need to determine the location.
Of the. A technology has always been at the courthouse in the past. And this is the courthouse now, I assume, so that's all I can.
Or would that be a problem if zoning board? And probably your notices, you still need to meet in Hanover. We would have to meet down there, wouldn't we?
It's a simple matter of putting a meeting notice out,
Right.
just saying where the meeting is and just having an agenda, which we've done literally hundreds of times before.
Well, there is a large room there, so meeting in Hanover shouldn't be a problem. We'll let you know the details as we get a response back from zoning board. Moving on to B is a discussion and possible action on $100,000 grant program in small businesses. Small Business Economic Development Grant Program. And I think Mike is here to explain some details on that, and there's some updated information in the packet.
Yeah, so thank you. So you guys, I've been talking about this for a while and been working on it, and David has been amazing. We've met 2 or 3 times, and
Mike, it's in the handout.
yeah,
It's
the
not
one we're looking at is
stapled.
the one that says Joe Davis County Small Business Development Grant. And I'll probably ask Scott to remove all those other stuffs unless you guys want them. I mean, you have them already. That's a lot of that is, it's wrong because it's old brainstorming and ideas have been crossed out. So, but it's a good process if you want to look at it. So when we're looking at Davis County Small Business Development Grant, and just, I want to be clear because I did meet with Melissa, Angie, and Tammy Cahill, our grant writer, like you requested, Diane, today. This is not, we're not voting on it today. We're not close. We're still working on it. I think we have a really good rough draft. And this is only going to be funded for 1 year. Now, do I want it funded forever? Absolutely, but I'm not ready to bring that to you guys yet, if I ever do. So this is for 1 year. We have the money in Fund 018. In the past documents are on there, you can see that our comprehensive plan says the county should have an economic development plan. It set our goals for committee goals. I thought I had it right. Said that we need to do this. And the new comprehensive plan says we need to do that. So that's where this is all coming from. And so if I can speak for David too, and of course, David, jump in anytime. There's a couple of things that are, I don't want to say the word controversial, that we definitely need input from you guys. And we'd like to get that tonight. And then David has volunteered to put a draft together, a packet draft that will be handed to the applicants. And then we'll have another packet that is behind the scenes. And that we'll know, not necessarily not that it's secret or anything that the applicant won't get. And then once we get that done, that'll be the actual working draft. And then, I'll try to sell it to the county board members to get it to pass. So that's, I just want to make sure everyone knows that we're not voting on it tonight. And I'm only asking to fund it for 1 year. So the Davis County Small Business Development Grant, is the goal of this grant is to help Davis County to help as a source of funding to increase economic growth in the county. Eligible applicants include small business retailers and manufacturers, wholesalers, those in hospital industry, along with farmers and food processors. I got input from John Schultz on that originally, and those documents, Lynn, that you brought up, I wanted 25% to go to farmers, and John said, no, just make them eligible, but not that they had to. So we took that. Grant requirements. Oh, just before I go on, most of this is a big cross between our revolving loan fund and Northwest Illinois Economic Against grant. And then there's TIF stuff where I'm familiar in there, but mainly we didn't try to reinvent the wheel. We tried to use what we've already been, that they've been using. And of course, the county has been approved already. So the business obviously must be located in Davis County. It cannot be used for labor. That's from the TIF. If it's used for labor, then you have to use prevailing wage, and then you might as well not give a grant in the first place. It cannot be used for debt or general operations, and they must complete an application packet checklist, obviously. And then here's our first thing that we need help on. TIFs pay up to 25% of the project, but those projects tend to be, up $1 million, 300, 400,000. This is more of a small project. So we decided to make it up to 50%. What are you guys cool with that? You want it back down to 25%? I mean, I don't think we're gonna have a lot of $300,000 applicants. It's gonna be more remodel jobs, 100,000, 50,000 jobs. I'm hoping someone's gonna buy $1,000 worth of cattle and we paid for 25,000, so. That's our first, we need some input from you guys.
So the cap would still remain at 25,000, Mike?
I missed that, what, John?
I said the cap would still remain at 25,000?
Yes, the cap is 25, so how much percentage of the project? I think, is the revolving loan fund, that's 25%, right? I think it is, we just wanted to make it more worthwhile, I guess, so, yeah, what's your opinion on that, John?
I think that's reasonable.
So Mike,
Yeah, the limit's still 25, but it can be up to 50% of the project. I mean, let's say they're doing let's say they're doing a $20,000 project. I mean, we could throw 10 their way, you know what I mean? That was what we were thinking, not 5, so.
so would that mean somebody who had a $200,000 project shouldn't even bother applying?
No, they can still get 25,000. Absolutely.
Is this similar then? Does Gens have that?
They only go up to go ahead, David.
Gens isn't for those sorts of large projects. If somebody's doing something of $250,000, they don't need Gens.
Does
And
Gens have a
Gens is a-
percentage of the total
Gens is a
project?
gap financing tool, meaning whatever project somebody's proposing, they had gone to their bank and been given a turn down letter. So their project isn't happening unless they have something like Gens coming in and filling the gap, hence the term gap financing tool. What Mike is proposing is not gap financing, it's just a grant.
TIP funds are gap fund too. You have to establish what's called a but-for clause. And everyone can say, but for this money, I can't do the project. So I just didn't put it in here because, yeah, go ahead.
What do other counties do in terms of percentage?
I don't know if anyone does this. It's based on the TIP district, which I'm really familiar with, and a BDD, Business Development District. So, I think, I don't know if I gave that to you guys. I had that before that handout, but, as mayor, I think I promised over $750,000 in grants, and we delivered on almost 400,000. And what I mean by that is, the Dollar General, we gave $250,000. Sorry, the Dollar General, we gave $250,000 to come to our town, and so they get $25,000 a year for 10 years. So, and that, but for we didn't give them, they wouldn't have came to our town. So that's the incentive to come to our town. But remodel jobs, Jugs, E-Town, Lola's, they all got money for the Midwest Medical. So
Is your rationale for having a percentage because you're afraid of failure? Or, I mean, why couldn't we fund 100%?
I think we could, that's awesome, but I think the entrepreneur has to have some skin in the game. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So obviously they have to. So I mean, if you guys wanted 25%, the money will get spread out more. We just wanted to make it. I hate to tell you this, and you guys could hit me on the head with a brick, but 25,000 is not a lot. So that's why we wanted to make it up to 50%. So in the grand, I mean, it's a lot to me, but it's not for a business person. So great question. Yep.
And like you got here, Mike, it says up to 50, so we have a lot of people you don't have to get 50, you just drop it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's up to 50 covers that, so.
I envision this, and now this is just my envision, when it comes to this committee, to lower the amounts of everybody a little bit to give more people money. You know, to spread it out more. I really think we'll do it. Now, whether we do that or not, I don't know, but I think that's a very big possibility, so yes.
Well, there's always two sides to that, because when any small business is undercapitalized, they're more likely to.
You
go
are absolutely
under, so
correct.
we'd
It's
much
gonna-
rather have them have whatever they need to be
It-
successful.
It's gonna be a tough decision, a good decision, a good problem to have, is I guess what I'm saying.
Would there be any criteria on the type of business? We know childcare is in need, we know home health care is
There-
in need, and whatever.
It's pretty much open to everything. I think that's in what I read already. Manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers, those in hospitality, industry, farmers, food processors, and then later capital investment, renovation, remodel, business, farm purchase, startup, pilot project. It's open to anything. Like daycare is a huge need in our county, so to me, they would score higher in an application. That's just me personally. You know, someone else might score farmer tough because we like or better because we like farm, you know, it's all how you score it, so.
Well, we've already identified needs in the comprehensive plan, the housing needs, the daycare needs.
Absolutely.
And things like that, so we could use what's already documented.
Absolutely. I think like, I mean, I think I've told you guys this before. I'm looking at Northwest Illinois economic development because they're more non-political. But ultimately, the final decision would be this board, this committee moving on to the full board. So, you know, you and I probably agree on 75%, you know, but where you're more in daycare or something, I might be more, you know, and I think that's a great problem, a great discussion to have. So, but I think for the most part, we're going to agree with what they give us pretty close. So.
Well, and this, you're not proposing for us to pass this now, but when we move forward on it, we're gonna be putting it on the agenda as a recommendation from this committee.
Yeah, I
to the
think we
county
need
board.
some more time on this.
Well, so here's my, if I can finish, our plan is to write a finished draft. And then we'll go over it one more time in this committee, and then if there's any major changes, you guys will have 30 days to go over it, and then we'll vote on the next committee on it, so. I do not, I want this to pass, I am not rushing it, so. Can I feel like can I go on? Application checklist, this is pretty standard. Oh, go ahead. Oh,
Go back to
the
intake. Where
is that, I'm not there yet, am I? We're not there yet, am I?
explain what this is. It's on the backside, but you put it up right here. What the intake meeting is.
Yeah, so David, well, you explain. David had a really good idea about an intake meeting. There's actually 2 intake meetings, and I'll let David explain at least one of them.
So with the GENS Small Business Development Fund, which has been up and running for over 3 years now. One of the things that we implemented recently was an intake meeting with the applicants. Putting together even something like this is going to take quite a bit of time. And we found we were getting poor applications. There were just some really glaring things that were wrong. And so people had to do rework. We sent them back. It delayed the whole process. So we instituted these intake meetings. We had one last week. We're going to have another one this coming month for future applicants. But that way they're on board with what the application means. You know, not everybody understands what all these bullet points are, right? They don't understand the process, right? So by having just a small intake meeting, you really save everybody a lot of time. My organization, the applicant, my time. So I asked Mike to do something similar involving somebody from this committee going with me to talk to the applicant before they prepare an application. So everybody's on the same page from the very beginning. I would just be there to kind of explain my role, my organization's role in all of this. The planning and development person from this committee will be there to talk about what's mentioned in the comprehensive plan, for example. So that way people can contour their applications so they're specific and they're not forgetting anything. Because if an application comes in and it's incomplete, it would be rejected then, because it can't go forward. I think that's a very important step, and it'll be useful.
Yeah, that's from his experience with the Gens grant and weeding out people. If you guys remember, Lola's was rejected at first before it was approved because they had to redo it. So that's what that step has taken. I'm gonna go real fast, until I get to the next, what I think is controversial, but if you see some, speak out. Cover letter, business name, EIN, contact name, years in business, type of grant, what are you using it for? How the project costs, how the grant will be used. Here's the next one, business plan. We wrote in there, only required if you've been in business less than 2 years. Where we came up with that number, it was arbitrary. And we just came up with it. If you guys want, you have to have a business plan. We'll totally take that out. The reason we didn't is I was thinking of the dealership in Elizabeth that's been in the second oldest dealership in the county. And who on this committee can look at their business plan and say they're not doing a good job. So we still wanted to protect ourselves from new businesses. So we use 2 years. Like I said, if you guys think it doesn't matter who they are, they don't get our money, we're fine with that. But I don't want people like, everyone wants to get flash money to the new business. I want to retain and grow the current businesses is my priority. So that's why we did that.
And also, an established business will have tax returns, and anybody that's reviewing applications, if they have the acumen, they can figure out if a business is successful or not quickly by looking at the tax return.
Which is number 4, so.
And if they're in business 2 years, they'll have at least a year, if not 2 or more.
I know, I would assume that if established business was still going through a thing that they should have some kind of a plan. It may not be as detailed, but to me, there should be some kind of a plan of how they were going to use the money. It wouldn't have to be from scratch, but I think there's some benefit.
Well, I think, isn't there a difference? A business plan has the projected number of customers, lots more detail than just what you're gonna do with the money.
And
Maybe
a
David
lot
can-
of what you just mentioned is gonna be captured in that point number 1. You know, that's just not addressed and all that. That's a couple paragraphs. What type of grant are you requesting? Oh, it's a capital investment. Well, tell me about that. Put some words behind that.
Yeah, Mr. Lane, John, would 1 and 2 satisfy your concern, or do you think a small business plan is needed?
I don't know. But there ought to be some kind of established goal beyond what I assume if the Elizabeth was applying for, that they would have some plan that, and to go beyond what they're doing, or to change their model.
I wonder if we could use a sample. It wouldn't have to be something that David's already taken in, but
So,
maybe just an example of what it would be.
For Gens, I don't care how long you've been in business, if you're interested in applying, you have a business plan. And it must be signed off on by the Small Business Development Center. And for our region, that's the folks down at Sauk Community College in Dixon. Okay, so that's a requirement for Gens, you must have a business plan. Mike has been kind of on the fence with requiring this. I reached out to Kim Ewelson. She's not the director of the SBDC. She used to be, now she has a dual role covering multiple things at Sauk. But I'm like, Kim, give me your bare bones template. And so we have that ready to go. So if you wanted to, but it would still probably be 10, 12 pages at minimum. If you want to do the full bore, that would likely push 40 pages.
Scare people off.
And it does. It does.
Yeah, so what do you think?
It scares people off.
Ought to be at least
To do
Maybe we could get by with something as simple as what's the need for and what you expect the result of this additional money to be.
I have a question too. So the grant evaluation criteria. Oh, all right. I'm just wondering if that's part of the narrative, or is that a subjective process by us?
That is gonna be what OMB they won't, applicants won't see that. To answer John and John, I think maybe, yeah, the business plan takes months. If you guys could email me, exactly what you're looking for, I think you both said it, but I don't remember we can add that into 1 and 2 and, like a half page of the goal, whatever you're looking for. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that's a good idea. If you guys could let us know what that is, we'll add that in there. I mean, that's in there, but like, if you want, John, you said it, I can't remember what you just said, you wanted to know.
Yeah, well, the fact that a business is established is great, but a lot of established businesses have also gone out of business.
Well, I know, yeah.
So you have to have something to move beyond where you're at.
So what exactly I'm ready to type, what do you?
I would think your goals or something. Yeah,
Goals and financial outcomes,
expected outcome.
goals and expected financial or expected outcomes?
Expected outcomes would not only be financial, it would be
Everything.
everything.
So I'm cool with that. Mr. Schultz, you said something too? Did you want to add something to that?
There's something similar to what John said. We need to know why they need the money and what they expect to benefit from it.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't think we really have that specifically, so I'm gonna write it generally, then we'll come up with more. Why do you need the money? And what is the benefit? Yeah, we'll figure that out. Thank you very much. And then we're all right leaving a business plan is required if it's less than 2 years. Are you guys cool leaving that in, or do you want to get rid of that and this will?
I don't know if you need a 100-page plan. Or the 10-page one might.
We do have a small one, so we'll look at it and bring it to you guys and we'll let you decide fully.
I suggest we go back to your original request that we each email you our suggestions rather than trying to hash this out in the moment.
Sure, I'm all for that.
Okay.
So, and then number 5 is a letter of recommendation from a county board member. I was baling hay for like 6 hours and then this came to me because what goes through your mind, but when we wrote grants, when we applied for grants for the Village of Elizabeth, we had to get a letter from Chesney, a letter from McCombie, and I think that allows the county board to put a more active role in it. So, it doesn't have to be this committee, it's any county board member. Hopefully they come, like Warren comes to Steve, you know what I mean?
Well, if you're trying to get out of the political process, I would think the county board member that writes the letter recommendation would be the guy would be invested in doing it. At least.
Yeah, we talked about that. We thought that the pros outweigh, we're still. I mean, you would literally have to be in the meeting and say, I reject what Northwest Illinois Economic, because my guy wasn't on there, I want my guy. I mean, that'd be. Yeah, so. Look, can we leave it on there and let you guys think about it? All right. Grant evaluation criteria, this is more behind the scenes, but when Northwest Illinois and then this committee, what's the business activity? How will it benefit the county? Sales tax, property tax, job creation, what is the long-term benefit of the county? Neighborhood impact, and downtown stabilization were 2 of our goals. David came up with both of those. Does Warren need this really bad? Does I shouldn't have said Warren, sorry. A community need this really bad for their downtown. Process. We had your bundle in there with the local government, if you had any other grants. So we added your request there, Diane. Process then intake meeting with a county board member to get the letter of recommendation, fill out the submit application, then go to David with his intake meeting. They would review it. And in the review, this was John Lane, you asked this, make sure one of the bankers was there. But their committee, of course, is, they have,
The reason I want a banker. Because their credit report should be part of the application. If they don't have a good credit rating, at least a decent credit rating, I don't want to give you money.
I'm gonna add that.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm just gonna add that for discussion. I don't know, is that common for grants? I don't know. I'll have to, Tammy, can I ask Tammy, Diane? She's on here.
Tammy, can you hear our discussion? Would you be able to answer a
Yes.
question that Mike has about what's typical?
The grants we're dealing with, Mike and I were talking about that this afternoon. This is a different situation. So I haven't had any grants that dealt with the credit rating. I mean, we have all of the grants, the federal, state, local funds we get, they're checking to make sure that we're compliant with all of our, we're up to date on our GATA portal, we're registered in sam.gov. So as far as the credit rating, we don't do that with any of the grants we have right now. That's not something that they request.
So are you
Is
saying
that what you're?
you never have to list what our bonding score is?
Correct.
My
For
example
the
would be the
for the grants we have.
These would be people, personal, government entities are different. Unless you're selling bonds. The only time our county had to get a bond rating is when we're selling bonds for the construction of the courthouse.
Correct.
my executive committee is the review committee for GETS. So presently, that's Bill Jenke, who is a career businessman, right? Amy Schoenauer is the CEO of Riverport Railroad, and she also does books for about 35 small businesses. Joe Mattingly's on there, who's now the CEO of Arrow Company. Prior to that, he was with Illinois Bank, and prior to that, he headed up the Galena Territory Association. The fourth person, our secretary, is Tiffany Brandt from DuPaco. Tiffany's going to be stepping down and is going to be replaced. The interim that we're approaching, that's going to be voted on next month, is Amy Baker, the CEO of Citizen. We want to elevate her from a general board member to the executive committee. So to your point, I guess if you take Bill out of the equation, you have three bankers.
And they will be
Two
looking at,
bankers, a CPA and a business
banker. Whether you're a banker, or not, I want to have the credit rating and report as part of the application.
That's gonna turn off a lot of applicants. I'm gonna tell you that right out of the gate.
looking at the tax return and with those highly qualified individuals, do you really think a credit rating on a business or I mean, John, can I ask you if you can find some examples of grants that request that and see why? I just don't know. I just don't know how much that's redundant.
Anytime I've gotten a loan from a bank or any place, even one of the things they look first is at my credit rating.
But the difference, John, is it's an individual rather than a business.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know how else to do this. We'll put it in and we'll vote on it. I mean, we'll vote on it next month. So everyone knows, talk to your people and you know, come up with the pros and cons and we can vote on it next month or 2 months whenever we're ready. So,
Would there have to be, I mean, just like a credit rating, you want someone who's gonna not be in deep debt and would be upstanding. But in the same regard, sometimes we have people who have had nuisances. Let's say they've done something that really aggravated their neighbors. I mean, if they have unpaid water bills or something like that, I think you need to know that. It may not be a credit rating.
But that's part of this committee's role, right? When my organization is done screening applicants, as long as they're not just atrocious, right? We're gonna forward everything to you. We're not making any recommendations. Here's all the applicants. And then you guys sift through them. And the ones that are the best candidates are gonna rise to the top.
Yeah, we're only gonna have 4 out of hopefully a whole bunch. We're
gonna
gonna
have
get the
dozens.
best. We're gonna get the best of the best. So I will tell you for our TIF and BDD, we didn't request any of that stuff. They're a little different. They're obviously they're a little different with security, but economic development is I don't know what the word I'm gonna say is more. It's more of a shot. You know what I mean?
One thing that's not in here is, do you want it to be November 1st? That's the deadline for applicants, 2025. Or do you want to take things on a revolving basis? There's pros and cons to both. With GENS, we take them whenever. You know, it's Tuesday, we'll take one. Wednesday, we'll take. Some programs, they have hard deadlines. A lot of the things that the county applies to, those are all deadline specific opportunities. This one, you can go either way. I mean, I think you can get a lot of buzz and competitiveness, you know, and hoopla around having a deadline, as long as it's far enough out where everybody gets a fair shot at getting an application in. That might be if you publicize it January 1st, but have the deadline be August 1st. You know, give everybody a long runway.
We'll have that figured out by next month. What we
Nick
recommend.
gets down to the marketing of it
Yeah.
after you all decide on the parameters.
If we keep in mind that our intent is to help small business develop or grow, then if we take that business and help it by having intermittent time periods, not just one time a year. And if we have some follow through, that maybe there's a mentor from the Small Business Development Center that could just every quarter, maybe just give them a call and say, hey, is there anything we can help with? You know, have David stop in. Hey, is there anything that we can help with? So that we don't just give money, that we give our heart and our soul and our support. We want you to be successful.
Yeah, I'll just let you know, TIF and BDD do not work that way. It's, here you go. And I'm not saying we have to do that. I'm just letting you know.
And I hear what you're saying, Diane, and I try to do that as best I can. Once applications come in, I'm gonna take down the names and addresses, and they're gonna go on to my organization's master contact list. So anytime we have a new fill in the blank and we do a mail campaign, they'll hear about it, right? You know, you encourage them to follow my organization's Facebook page or make them aware of the county's economic development website, right? There's, once people come forward and get comfortable working with an EDO like my organization or a chamber of commerce, they tend to kind of stay, right? The hard part is drawing out some of these businesses and making them aware of the opportunities, okay? And having a front page thing like this pilot program in the Gazette or the TH will pick up on it. Well, you know, that starts, you know, creating a positive, you know, viewpoint, you know, of the county. People learn about NWLAD and you kind of get them into the fold. And then they're there.
Diane, in reality, once we give them the money, we have zero power over them to make them do anything. So I mean, that's just what I want to. Well, not power, but hey, you're not coming to these meetings. You know, so I think we need to vote on this, saying that we might not ever hear. I mean, David can check with them, but I think that's about the best.
The power is in the application. You will have strong results, positive, strong results, as long as the application is comprehensive to your liking, and then you're gonna get the applicants, right? And there's no guarantee, but if you have a strong application and you're approving only the best applicants, you're gonna have a positive result.
Yeah, so I guess from what I took away from what you said was maybe something more like an incubator type of support. Or, an example or something that came to my mind is maybe you offer free registration to some of your like educational or meet and greets or, some of your ongoing trainings or things that you host.
I think that's a great idea. I'm gonna reverse it though. I think that if they've done those trainings, they would score better. So I absolutely, I think that's up to us as people. I want to finish this quick. Sorry, I feel like I've taken too much time. The process is almost exactly similar to the revolving loan fund. So we, Northwest Illinois will screen everything, recommend it to us, and we'll figure it out. I want David to be more precise. He doesn't want to be more precise, so we'll see how that works. I mean, I want him to say these 7 should get this amount of money and we have to approve it. But we do have the flexibility to change it. And then that's how it'll work. So, I did forget one thing. I didn't have it on there. I added it. I forgot. One thing too, I don't know how, I mean, I hope everyone understands how economic development could totally blow up in your face. Now, the Village of Elizabeth, we had 0 businesses that we gave money to screw us over out of this 400,000. I think the applicant, I mean, I think we're gonna get really good businesses, so I'm not worried about that, but it could happen. So one of the things that protects the village is the TIF district is almost literally its property. So if we gave someone $50,000 to build, to remodel a business downtown, and 2 years later they went out of business, we were fine with that because the building was still in town and was in good shape and we know it'd be sold. I'll use Lola's as an example. Lola's was a little more riskier. We gave them money for equipment for their kitchen. They literally could have went out of business 6 months later and sold that equipment. So I would like, and so we can, this isn't gonna be perfect. We're gonna have to tweak this if we do this every year. I want it to be open for anything and let the application process, but if we have a concern with giving someone money for cattle and they get struck by lightning, maybe we just do property and equipment, which is, is a little more concrete. So would you please think of that too? I'm recommending we don't do that. We keep it open, but that would, that would make sure that we get the property tax back and someone else will buy the building in the future. So something to think about. I don't want to make it too cumbersome. That's my point. So.
Hey,
I got one question. I think I know it, but is there a way to spread these out to the counties? Or all just be done by your grant process? I mean, whoever scored the highest? I think I know it, but.
you mean geographically?
Well, I am gonna be unbiased here and just, hopefully if it's funded more than 1 year, it can spread it out more, but. If you look at, number 5 and 6. Under, grant evaluation criteria, neighborhood impact and downtown stabilization. And I don't wanna knock anyone off because I want them all applied, but. Towns that don't need help. Would not score as high as a town that needs help. Does that help answer your question? Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, if someone in a town that doesn't need help has an awesome business idea, I'm all for it, but. That's why David, I gotta give him the credit. He added those, and I think that's really important that we have that in there. I'm not saying that's exact, but that's our focus.
Another comment of mine. I think an intake made with David be fine. I'm not sure that should include a county board member. It just, no. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be a volunteer?
Think about it. I see where you come from 100%, John, because I've said all the time, I don't want to be political, and I still don't want it to be political. I just want, I want the county board to be more invested in it, I guess. And, if we can take that out, I'm fine with that, but, I think about it.
But
I'm not, I see what you're saying, I mean, maybe it's just me, cause I love being involved in economic development, I mean, I don't know.
What are you saying, John, that you would like to eliminate that or change it in some way?
I think. I think a possible intake meeting with somebody. Who understands the grant. Could be helpful in getting them focused on what you're doing, but I don't know if it needs to be a county board member included.
Okay, first off,
I think
never ran a
Scott,
business in my life. I've worked for the government my whole life. So, well, no, I don't even want to go there. So, my own opinion is that Northwest Illinois Economic Development, David should spearhead this, but that's my opinion, so.
Well, I have to say, I kind of agree with Mike is that the county board needs to be well aligned with the goals of economic development. And if you personally sat down with somebody when they're going through their paperwork and said, and told them, hey, you know, we spent hours with this with committee members, and we're really hoping that you get this, and we want you to have this, we want you to be successful, and it's worked this way and this way. Just
and
to
what
be the
happens when they
emotional
don't get
support.
it?
If they don't get it, at least they know, at least you've reached out.
When I first, no, John, again, I agree, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I'm not opposed either way, but. When Diane, when I told this to Diane, I told her, I hope East Dubuque got 3 out of the 4 and I was mad at you. Remember that? That's a great problem to have. I really do think it's a good problem to have. You know, gosh darn it, Diane, you know, yeah, you're gonna be mad, but. It's gonna be highly vetted by David and group and then this committee, so I think that the cream's gonna rise at the top, absolutely.
Well, I don't think it's meant to be taking sides for your own local business. To me, it's taking sides for your county. We want you to be successful for Joe Davis County, because if you're successful, we're going to repeat this program. If you're successful, you may hire somebody else.
The one thing the county has done, that with Lola's, we shaved a step off of the approval process from Mike when your loan was, because it was, in my view, the process we made people go through, anybody, was somewhat torturous with the committee approval process, so we did do that to speed that up, so. I don't think it needs to be dragged in front of every committee.
Yeah. David promised it's gonna be a 2-page application.
John, I want to keep up you and Tammy. Let us know if you have input. Bob, you've been pretty quiet here. Well, let's just say that you had a young carpenter that wanted to start a business. Do you see this as something that might help him? Don't they always say a banker will always loan money to people who don't really need it?
I'm done with that. Thank you guys so much. Please, Lynn, I know you send us and, we'll try to have a final draft and I'll keep those points of contention and maybe we'll just have to vote on them and I know I'll talk to Diane, see how she wants to do it. Thank you. This was awesome. Thank you very much.
Well, we'll put this as number one agenda item for action, discussion and action then for next month.
I still think we're 2 months out, but we'll see how, we'll see how good the meeting goes. Yeah. So I'm not promising anything. I want to make sure it's right. So thank you very much, though.
Is there anything that we need to ask of Scott for the financing of it? I know there was a line item that did have money that could be put in the next budget.
Well, it carries over every year and there's already money in there for programs. There's 2 line items in there, a significant amount of money that are for programs.
So when we do it, I just want to be sure that that line item is identified and help people know how much money is in there so they don't think that we're draining it all in one year. Want to go on your second item?
I want to go a lot faster. I don't have a really good name for this, so if someone has a better name for it, I'm all for it. The Davis County Keep Your Young People Here House Loan Program. So the questions there, the 11 questions, I met with Citizen State Bank. I met with 3 of them. I met with 4 of them at Citizen State Bank, and I met with 3 of the people at Apple River State Bank. It was mentioned by both of them that we should have a joint meeting. And so I plan to set that up, and I want to invite anyone in this room and on Zoom land, if they wanted to attend, as long as we don't break quorum, county board members, if they want to come in and help that. The meetings were awesome. Both of them said they would come here and testify, for a better word, on this program. Because I know Diane started asking questions, 3 or 4 days ago, and she had awesome questions. And on one of them, I said, Diane, that's a great question to ask when they testify. So that's what I mean by that. They went great. The biggest issue on this is security for the county. And the option is make it a second mortgage. A second mortgage would put us in line to receive money if there was a foreclosure. The problem with a second mortgage is the disclosure requirements, like race, gender, all that stuff. And one bank said you could overcome it, and another bank said you don't want to mess with it. So that's when the joint meeting idea came up. The other option is to make it unsecured or a personal guarantee, which doesn't secure the money. The positive of that is it would work really well. The bank is going to vet all of this. They will figure it out in their, I'm going to say this wrong, their debt to payback ratio. The bank, Citizen State Bank said it's 43% for them. So they'd be willing to go up to 45 for this. But you're not going to get this money unless you can pay it back. Apple River State Bank said they have less than 1% foreclosure on all their loans. So they did not, an unsecured loan vetted by them and was not risky to them. Now it's not their money either, but it's our money. So that is something that we're gonna meet together for the joint meeting. I did talk with Angie and Melissa today. They wanted to know about a lien, and I asked about that because I'm familiar with liens, and I can't remember the reason why they said that wasn't good. But to me, that's the best thing to do. But I have to find out more. They said they would. This is almost. It's turning out to be almost exactly like our revolving loan fund, except it can go to houses. And one of the issues they talked about is how is a single mom that only makes $45,000 going to qualify for this? And unfortunately, I had to say this program's not for them. It's not. That there's other government programs that would help that person. This program is literally for young couples to stay here. With kids or without kids, or young couples with or without kids to move here. And that would be, that's the goal of this. I mean, I wish we could give money to everyone that needed it, but that's not our goal. And Diane's questions, there is USDA loans for first-time homeowners, and there's also Illinois loans. And both banks rolled their eyes when I asked about, because if you look at number one that I asked was, is this even a good idea? And both banks resoundingly said absolutely, because they have, I mean, when they testify, we can ask them how many they've lost that this would have helped them, and the number is well worth it. The other banks, the requirements are so cumbersome and the money runs out. Both banks don't even service those loans because they don't work. So, I am not as far along on this as the other one. So this is, I mean, if this is done by December, that'd be great. I don't know. But that's it. So.
I asked Mike to not bring up more than 3 items, so you could see he brought up only 2.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's all I'm working on. I hope you read that. The first time home buyer, we were originally gonna do it by age, under 25, 30, that's illegal. But Freddie Mac has a first time home buyer that's anyone that hasn't bought a house within 3 years. So obviously someone 65 could buy it, but would we approve it? They can apply for it, but so they thought, so that it's everything's in there. All I can say, I mean, I can't wait till they come testify. They are very excited by this. The bankers would they would sell it. They actually said the realtors will have to go out and the realtors will sell it even better than they will, but they will approve everything. They will go through all the financials and everything, and they're fine with the 0.25% servicing fee, exactly like the revolving loan fund. So.
I have a question for Christina or Scott. Is this something that we should run by the state's attorney in case there's any?
Yeah, so it's on the list. The last thing is the state attorney needs to check this program out. So both banks wanted that to be done. So.
By us or by them?
By us, probably. I do have one thing too. This is David is gonna write the whole grant program up. Both David and I don't feel confident in writing the application for this. Yeah, at all. Yeah. Is there a way that we could hire one of the banks? Now, one of the banks might volunteer to do it. I don't like asking that. Is there a way we could hire a bank to write the application for this? When I mentioned that, one of the people from Citizen State Bank, this young kid who is one of the smartest people I've ever met, Sam Van Heisen, I don't know if you know him. He's like right away, he's like, well, there's this one application for this and this, it'd be perfect, we could switch it and do all this, and I'm like, sounds like you're our guy. So is that, I mean, Scott, Diane, is that possible? I'm thinking a couple $100. I don't know, I mean, ask him, can I?
As an independent contractor?
To write the application for us. I mean, I'll find out how much money they would charge. It might, like I said, they might do it for free, but I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth since we're asking them to do a lot, so. Well, I hope you're at that joint meet, Diane, I hope you're at that joint meeting. I really want you to be there, so. With the bankers.
Well, anyone who has had experience with banking more recently would be good to have in there. I'm
Everyone's
opposed to it.
Everyone's invited. You just had the best questions. That's why I was taking you, but. When I set that meeting up, I will send it out to Scott to send it to this committee if I don't have everyone's email, and everyone's invited, and as long as we don't violate quorum, I'm totally cool with it.
You may run into an open meetings requirement if you have so much percentage. It's nice to have it, but it would have to be posted, as I understand, as a public meeting.
Well,
Standard is the majority of a quorum. So this committee has 8, so a majority of a quorum would be
5.
5.
So long as 4 people met.
5 would be a quorum, and majority of a quorum would be 3.
What if, how about we did this? Cause let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's have, hopefully Diane and anyone else, 2 of us, 3 of us total. Meet with them. And then everyone else just wait till they testify. I mean, it's gonna be the same meeting, you know what I mean? when they come here in an open meeting, I think that would, then everyone would have a chance to ask other questions, because this is gonna take a little bit longer to put it together, so.
You want to set it up?
Yeah, I will work on it, tomorrow.
I just want to tell you, Mike, though, I'll feel more comfortable when you have it in writing that the state's attorney, if they can even look at it before we meet with the bankers, because I don't want to get the cart before the horse.
Nope, I like I said, I met with, Tammy wasn't really interested in this one, but I met with Melissa and Angie, and Chris is next, so. I will get on that ASAP.
And then we'll be able to share that document with them prior to meeting with the bankers, so that if they have any questions, then I could bring those questions forth. Whether it be Tammy or anybody on this committee could bring a question and I take it to the meeting.
So what document do you want to share with the bankers first? This is all from them. That's all their notes. If you look at it, it says, meeting notes with Citizen State Bank and meeting notes with, Apple River State Bank, so.
It's just a question and answer, thing. It's not a formal document.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask them to write it, so, cause they know how to do it, so. I will talk to Chris before we meet, so if that, I think that's what you're asking, so I'll take care of that. The one thing though, think about to yourself, second mortgage versus unsecured. Personal guarantee. Cause one's gonna be, might be hard, so just start thinking about. And like I said, the personal guarantee is what I'm leaning towards, because the odds of someone after this vetting process foreclosing is very, little, and the revolving loan is personal guarantee, so. But I'm open to both. So just start thinking about that, please.
Well, my goal is for the person to be successful, to become a homeowner and live in that home well. But we know that second mortgages can be very stressful. And we know whether it's a person losing their job or falling down and going to the hospital, those things can happen. And they're not necessarily the fault of the person. So I think it has to be broad enough to understand this is like throwing the dice, and you never risk more than you can afford to lose, right? John, do you have any questions that you think should? John Schultz, do you have any questions that you think should be asked of the bankers or in putting this together?
It's somewhat out of my field of expertise, but I think the bankers where we need to go to this.
I'll take lots of notes. Mike, we've kind of expanded on the unfinished business from the grant program to the housing. It's kind of unfair here. We just jumped down to D. Are you finished enough that we can go on back to C?
I forgot one thing. I'm reaching out to the two banks in my town. If you have concerns, I would be totally open to meeting with you and your bank once we get a little bit more of this written down. And so just let me know. I think these two banks are great, but if you have a concern, let me know and I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Well, if we move on back to item C, this is Christina's issue, and we haven't been very helpful in giving her an answer. So, Christina, do you want to report anything on the signage?
I don't have anything additional to report. There haven't been any changes to this proposed draft ordinance. I think we left it off that LaDon was going to talk with the ETSB. And I think they might not have met during July. I will just say though, Steve Endress mentioned to me, if we do want to move forward with adopting this or and discuss this ordinance at all, he did have a suggestion. That under 7-2-4. Top of page 9. Thank you. It has there in red to contact Julie before you dig. And Steve, what your recommendation, can you remind me what that was again?
That's when to put something like zoning and county are not responsible or liable for any damage that might happen. I mean, no, it's common sense, but if you put it there in writing, maybe it might help as well too.
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea to clarify that.
So that would come kind of at the end of page 9. Or top, okay.
The first paragraph, I believe. Yeah, I talked those down last night, and he told me he hadn't had a chance to talk to the ESP board. Right now, without having a firm ordinance in place, I'd be in favor of if somebody wanted to put a sign up, to go ahead and put it up rather than not have a sign up. Yeah.
I do
As I
want,
remember, as I remember, Christina, you have maybe a dozen of these cases a year that you need new signage other than a new house itself.
Yeah, it's probably about a dozen. I mean, yeah, most of them are for new homes. Usually we get about 30 or so new homes a year. We might have a few like accessory structures or maybe a business that has an address, a new address. Otherwise, it would just be replacements, and yeah, it's probably about a dozen of those a year.
So delaying this another month isn't going to probably bury too many places that people can't find.
Yeah, no, I don't think there will be a lot in the next month. No.
Yeah, according to Don, the ESP is very well funded. So if we can get them to take it over or at least pay for it.
they have some contingency funds that are quite large, and I did the research to find out how much it is. Well, just in that contingency itself, it seems to me it was, I sent the email to Lennon and Scott, and was it like 200,000? And we're just talking about our amount, maybe 6,000. Can't tell you that. Oh, can't find that amount, but I think it was far in excess of what we would need. They have plenty of money in their contingency, and I don't know the history of whether they've used that in the past.
They fund positions through the sheriff's office, things related, and they buy things from the 911 center. And I don't know off the top of my head what they use their contingency line for. I can go get the budget book if you want me to, but I think the best thing to do is just talk to Bill. So.
Is there any advantage to having this in place as a fail safe if something happens? I mean, what, like you say, John, it's not maybe a pressing, but who's to know? Maybe there will be 2 places or 3 places. How are you gonna have it done?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think you're saying to adopt this ordinance just as an in case for like right now, like send it to the county board to approve. I mean, I'm not sure that I don't know, I mean, what's the goal? Is the goal to have like ETSB or 911 coordinator take over, or is it a new job? Is it an additional job duty? Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think the goal is to have an address for emergency personnel to find the directions. And that's kind of what John was saying.
There's a vacuum right now. And if somebody is willing to go out and put their sign up and do it somewhat reasonably, I think it's better to have a sign up than no sign.
It's, I guess, it probably would be a question for the state's attorney. I don't know if I can answer.
Well,
And could you do it voluntarily? Let's say somebody finishes a house and you say, right now, we're in the process. If you'd like to put your address sign and be protected, here's what we recommend.
Yeah, I'm not sure because as the current ordinance states that the owner shall not alter or cause to be altered the address, sign, or post or its location. So, I'm not sure.
Scott,
The problem is, we don't have anybody right now to do this. The gentleman's retired. He hasn't indicated that he wants to, didn't he say he would do it for a little while? No, he's done. So he quit basically because he gotten to the point where he didn't want to do it anymore because, he's having the malady that all of us have as we get older. This is not reinventing the wheel. This is done by other counties, correct, Christina? So the
Yeah.
question becomes, I think, is about the funding. And we'll thought that ESDTSB could fund this, correct? All right, because right now it's funded from your budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, so. And you don't want it funded from your budget or? I'm just trying to figure out how ETSB got involved in this. And
they used to do it.
they did used to do it, I know that, but how it reverted back to ETSB.
I don't know. I think it would, I mean, I don't want to make any assumptions. I think Ladon had said that he wanted to talk to ETSB about it, but I don't know that he was asking for money necessarily.
Let them handle it or hire the person to get this done.
Right,
Have them take.
possibly, yes.
Well, he's not here and he's unavailable. He talked to John. We could wait another month or pass this because like I said, this is not reinventing the wheel. This has been done by other counties too. So it would solve the problem. And I don't have a problem talking to Bill Kimball myself about it and asking him about it.
So if we hold it over as an agenda item, it's been on twice. What's the process?
Well, I think you can hold it over because it's been discussed, but something needs to be done. At this point, something just needs to be done. And if it involves, I guess where I'm coming from is what is the pleasure of the committee? Does the committee want ETSB to handle it? Do they want it to continue as it is? And if you want ETSB to handle it, is it because of monetary issues? Would you pass another ordinance then that have ETSB handle it? That's my question. It's just ETSB funded. Because this has kind of gotten blown out of something that I think is pretty simple and straightforward, which is we're not going to hire somebody anymore. We're just going to have the person put it in, and there's other counties that do this. So to me, that seems pretty simple and straightforward, especially if other counties do this.
It's my understanding that we have a proposed and vetted proposal for this ordinance. I propose that we accept it and forward it to the county board.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded to forward the suggested resolution with the edit added from Steve Endress. It's been moved by John Schultz and seconded by John Lang. Um,
I'm trying to avoid the vacuum we have.
right. Right. Discussion.
This still doesn't decide who's gonna do it, other than, are we gonna give it, is it going back to the homeowner, in which case, do we give them a link to, here's where you buy the post, here's where you buy the blue sign, here's where you dig the hole and stuff like that?
The owner, occupant, or agent of the building will install the post. We will provide the post, the sign, rivets, all materials.
Thank you.
The materials are covered with a $90 fee.
Correct.
Mike?
So Christina, when they come to pay the $90, that's when you'll give them everything, or shortly, you'll make arrangements, that is how you're.
Yeah, so we have the forms, they already applied through our office for the address, and then, you know, we have the supplies, we order supplies, we'll put the numbers on the signs. Our other Steve Keister used to do that, we'll do that, and then, you know, when it's all ready
Call them back.
with the building permit, they can come pick it up, call them back, they pay the fee.
And we're gonna do this with Ladon, before Ladon talks to E ETSB.
Yeah, would have to go to county board for approval.
And at that time, if LaDonna has talked to them and helped them to recognize that their past history plus their goal of providing safety services to people in our county, if those goals jive with sharing a minute amount of their contingency money to pay for this, they might go for it.
That's
So-
as simple as, if, so from a monetary standpoint, that's just as simple as an interfund transfer.
So. So Ladon says, hey, don't pass this yet, cause I'm not ready, cause I did talk, you know, or so go ahead and do it because it's not, I mean, we'll just wait till
I haven't
his
talked to- I
recommendation.
haven't talked to Ladon about it.
I-
Did you talk to Ladon, John? About, you talked to?
Well, I asked them last night while we were sitting there, waiting for me, whether he had a chance to talk to ESP, and he said, no, he hadn't. He hadn't been able to get to it. And that's all I understand. And he told me they have the funds to do it.
As far as them paying for it, it's as simple as a transfer. If that's the question, it's as simple as that.
They had looked in their budget and they have a $40,000 sitting in contingency that could help in paying the up to $6,000 cost for this. Mike?
Yeah, I'm all right with moving this on to the full board and wait to see what Ladon does. I mean, that saves us a month if we have to come back. So I do have one question and a comment. Christina, how many, I mean, you know, I'll take your guess. How many do you do a month? I mean, 4 to 10, I mean,
Oh, for these addresses,
I mean, I know it depends.
4 to 10, yeah, I would average 6 probably.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I know we're making the emergency management guy full-time. Is this something that we could ask them to do, just to think about? I mean, I'm ready to vote on this, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So, cause it's, you know, 911 numbers, I don't know.
Lynn?
Maybe I missed something, but if the property owner is paying for this, do we even need to involve ETSB? Like, what money are they contributing to this? If the property owner is paying for all of this, what
Exactly.
is the funding for?
See, and I really don't know how it evolved. I think it evolved because originally it was done by ETSB. And then the question is, why did ETSB not continue to do it? And, everybody's seeing a pile of money there and then they could take care of it. So, but
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I don't think I have staff to be able to do these installs. I would want to have additional funding if we wanted to hire somebody or do another contract type of thing that we did before. In that case, ETSB, or if ETSB, you know, whatever 911 coordinator, like other counties have a 911 coordinator that assigns these and a sheriff's deputy goes out and installs them. Yeah, emergency management that, you know, before, ours had resigned, you know, there was suggested that I do talk to him, but I mean, literally the next day he had resigned, so I wasn't able to do that.
I would think through your application process, you'd collect a $90 fee. You would have a handout with the criteria of how to install it. And it would be the responsibility of the property owner to have it installed properly.
Yeah, if this ordinance was adopted, that is what I would like to do. And then there would be no need for any funding from E ETSB.
But wouldn't it be true that there might be a lack of consistency when you're leaving it up to different owners all the time?
And there potentially
That's
could
why
be.
you have that's why you would have your list of criteria that it had to follow and be part of the inspection process.
Andy would go out and look at these after they were put in. Correct?
And yeah, Andy would go out and look at
It's
these.
also possible that Andy could go out, you know, once Julie's located and go out there and physically mark where they should put it, so there's no question.
Yeah, there potentially could
To
be,
me, that makes
Yeah,
sense. that
yeah.
you would do that.
yeah.
So,
I will say too, that in the Galena territory, they actually don't allow those metal posts that we provide, and so they do require that they already are installing the posts. It's usually on the mailbox. They're already installing the posts, and Steve was just installing the sign onto the post that they were putting up, so.
And just for point of information, I think it was estimated that it was an actual cost of like $150 if you were to hire somebody and do it, okay? Are we ready to call the question? There's a motion on the floor to adopt the resolution as found in your packet with the addition Steve Enderson made. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Nay. Motion carries. Next on our agenda. We've covered the starter home down payment, so if we look on the back page of your packet, you can see the retrospective. And Steve, if you would like to lead a discussion, you were very nice to do that review, and if these will make a handy packet for new committee members.
On April 2023, Christina advised the Board of the Public Act 102-1123 Renewable Energy for Solar and Wind. She reminded the board that we could not be any more restrictive than the state has set. MSA was starting their comp plan schedule events together. Joe Carroll, who rep Mary Seavey, was here, gave update on the service they provide, and they're also having problems having young workers join their team, even when they pay for all schooling and give them a great paying job afterwards. Resolution for the county board supporting agriculture in Davis County. Dave Smith advised board that their second manufacturing trades day for the local high schools, and he also advised that they approved 4 more scholarships for local schools, which was great. Going on to May, the housing study updates was in there. MSA was building the website for a comp plan update, and Diane reminded the board members the retreat is coming up soon and encourage all to be there. Board discussed having more educational speakers come to the board and give us ideas, examples of their businesses or requests for the planning development committee as well. Dave Schmidt advised the board that scholarship winners, and Christina gave us a board update on the building permits for year to date, 112 permits for an estimated $8.8 million so far.
Thank you very much, Steve. We appreciate any of the board members that would like to volunteer to do July, August, September. Oh, we have a volunteer.
Yep, I'll do July, August, and September.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Lynn. July, August, and September will be nice reviews. going on to the Development and Planning Department budget planning process. And this item was just like our educational sessions we've had before. This is kind of a 101. How does the budget work in development planning? So Christina is eager to tell us.
Okay, there's nothing in your packet, so I apologize. I guess I'm just gonna be pretty brief about it because we've submitted the revenues. I believe that the board has looked at those. Revenue estimates, we will have another round of revenue estimates, so I can, tweak the details on that if need be. I think I did just want to point out one thing with that revenue. I don't have like our total that we had done, but I know that you had, John Lang, you had a question back. Looking at, it was highlighted that, our building permits were projected to increase by $25,000 for revenue. And I was like, yeah, that is a lot of money. Why, how did I come up with that? And I was just looking at the, 2021 actual revenue from just building permits from our department was $102,000. In 2022, it was $120,000. In 2023, it was $149,000. We're currently at $114,000. I'm projecting that we end this year at about just under $160,000. So we are seeing an increase, probably mostly due to the increase in cost of building. Exactly, because our building permit fees are based on the percentage of the construction value. So as construction costs increase, our building permit fees are going to increase as well. So that's where a large increase in the projected revenue came from for next year. We're working on the expenses. Those are due July 31st. Just gonna highlight, our target amount that was approved was $358,000. That includes, all the salaries, healthcare and all that, health benefits and all that good stuff too. So without that, we do have a, $41,371 that we have to kind of put into different categories and expenses that are required. Some of the major ones, kind of paying for mileage to do site visits, maintenance services, that could be like printing costs. Yes, yep. We pay rent to highway, that's, one thing. And yeah, just kind of other little things here and there. So I just wanted to give a brief overview. We can get into more details in our joint finance committee.
I think it is helpful to understand the expenses because remembering our goals, one of the goals was digitizing the records. I don't know what that kind of thing costs. And also we have the comprehensive plan that we want to print copies of. It's outrageous if you get it printed at Copyworks. So those kinds of expenses that are targeted, like the comprehensive plan has some money left in your budget. Was it we were gonna do a review of the comp plan, but I think we had maybe 4,000 left.
I did not look at that. It's actually under it's under the administrators, so I don't technically have access to.
But any kind of projects that we project that we want to see doing, whether it's helping get the materials ready or any public meeting or paying for any publication about the home loan program. If like Barbara Sue does something, and David, is that kind of expense covered under your program or does that come under Christina's?
I'm fine doing the grant program for you folks. But I won't do the home one. And if you're looking for cheap printing, don't go to Copyworks. I found in our area, Morrissey Printing on a Platteville is cheap and they're very easy to work with. They're right down on Main Street. We started using them a year ago and I probably cut my printing budget in half.
are there any questions about the budget process? And I'll try to put some of the numbers down so it's a little clearer for you. Mike?
Can we see the draft budget for the zoning?
It's coming.
Yeah. Everything would be in the budget meeting.
We use the target-based budget, meaning any increase.
But this is the first time any department person at this type of meeting had to discuss their budget here.
Well, it wasn't to discuss it, it's just how does it get formed? How does she choose to decide expenses when we give her goals of digitizing a program or the goal of printing out things? And I, as a board member, I didn't understand target budgets. And I don't know if John wants to kind of explain that there's preset target amounts. Our amount hasn't changed except for salaries, the amount of money to do things. So yes, you have some revenue.
Let Scott explain.
Okay,
maybe.
sure.
It's not correct that it hasn't been changed. 2 years ago, we did increase the funding for the targets, I think by 2%. It doesn't sound like much, but it was almost like an earthquake that we actually did it. So, the purpose of the target-based budgeting is basically to control the budget, and it's been done for years now. And, it's just the process we go through. It doesn't mean anything can't be changed. If it has to be changed, it has to be presented with a memorandum requesting why it needs to be changed and go in front of the joint review committee or the finance committee. So
I just asked to see it. I mean, with my budget experience, what she said made perfect sense, and I just wanna start learning how it works and see it, but I can wait till the committee meeting, that's fine.
Well, and
So-
I look at it as, what if we want to do something like hire a consultant for the zoning ordinance or a speaker? How do I know what monies are available and what monies you can't touch? I mean, you know your bottom line, but what about in between?
That would be beyond a budget request, and that would be on the funded or unfunded list.
And I believe the zoning, not the zoning, I believe the comprehensive plan update was an unfunded request.
It was before my time, but I think it was too.
It sounds complicated. It is complicated, and I tried at one point to reduce the number of steps and it didn't go well, so I reversed course, and that's why we stick with a 15-step budget. It took me a while to understand it, but once you do it, you see, it does make sense. So, and the budgetary decisions and the joint review meetings are made by the committee, this committee and the finance committee combined together to move it forward. So everybody's on the same page.
Well, just so that I can put notes together, let's say someone else was sitting in my seat and wanting to plan the calendar for when they have to put together their proposal for an unfunded request. Let's just say, and I'm not saying that we need to do it, but let's say we wanted to have a zoning professional come and help with wording for something, and it was gonna cost so many thousand. What's the schedule to get that on for an unfunded request?
I think along the whole step of the budget process, you'll see repeatedly any new mandatory necessary expenses, any new unfunded, it comes to a point at the end of the process with the unfunded request where we whittle it down and we get down to the marrow. That happens at the end of the budget process. But going forward, if there's something that has to be done, then it becomes a necessary mandatory expense. And it's done. But there has to be documentation justifies why something like that happened, and then we have memos, and it comes out in the budget guidelines that are sent out.
I guess I'm just thinking, if it's not an urgent thing, the best thing, the appropriate time would be to do it during the unfunded request, and then when you would really receive the money would be about when?
For the budget.
They'll put the logo in for the, courthouse logo as an unfunded request. So. And you go through the budget book, you'll find a page that has all the unfunded requests that are approved. And
It's
the
at the back.
process and. I guess I'm starting to get more comfortable in this job, but I really even though I get frustrated with sometimes, I really kind of think our budget process is kind of a thing of beauty. I don't know if it's best to describe it that way, but it does make sense. So.
Well, I'm just like to plan ahead, like if we were to think 3 years ahead, maybe we want the program for the housing or the program for the grants goes well and we want to increase it. Well, you can't just increase it. You first have to plan the money. And when you plan the money, you have to plan like a year ahead or 18 months ahead. I'm just trying to figure out timeline. Have to learn something. Is there any other questions on this issue about how the budget is planned? Going on to reports, building and zoning.
Okay, so I have provided a memo to you with, highlights of the month of June. It starts on page 16, I think, in your packet. Okay. So for construction permitting, I have the, graphs as usual. In June, there were 36 building permits issued, with a construction value estimate of $2,316,000. It included 3 new homes, 6 accessory structures, and 14 renewable energy permits. Just wanted to provide some mid-year comparisons since we're about halfway through calendar year. So this isn't fiscal year, this is just looking at the calendar year. There were 24 new homes permitted since January of 2024, compared to 16 new homes at this time last year in 2023. 30 accessory buildings, 17 building additions, 11 decks, and 42 residential solar permits, all issued as of I guess June, end of June, sorry. And the total estimated construction value since January of 2024 is $24,124,687. Compared to $11,627,620 at this time last year. So just to show that we're kind of ahead this year compared to where we were last year. And then I did also provide again the inspection report from mostly Andy's inspections. I did just include some of the zoning certificate inspections. These are the ones that are for new guest accommodations, applications, and any variance, zoning hearings, variances, or special uses or anything like that that was provided. You'll see at the end, I think it says Andy had 85 different inspections that he did for the permits. I also have the guest accommodations inspections. This is all of them that are for current fiscal year. So there's 232 listed that he has completed that are all for our current fiscal year applications. These would be renewals and new.
Very comprehensive. Thank you. Thank you much. Thanks, Andy. Good process. David, we're moving on to economic development.
Yep, pretty steady month. I didn't put a lot on here because we're actually doing quite a bit of work down in Carroll County. So, obviously that's excluded from my report for you folks. I will touch on our GENS program. So the GENS Small Business Development Fund. We just did $7,500 to Dry Creek Beekeeping, which was an agritourism business. It was also going, the owner of Dry Creek was our scholarship winner a couple of years ago. So we were really thrilled to be supporting Chase Dittmer with his beekeeping. We're gonna be doing another award next week for Lola's. It's gonna be their second over in Elizabeth. And that award is gonna be 10,000, and that will bring our total to over 51,000 since the program started up a couple of years back that we've given out. So pretty proud about that. The program still has plenty of money in it. The kitty is about $458,000. So it'll be around for a while yet. So no worries there. This morning, we had our kickoff meeting for Manufacturing and Trades Day. Christine and Barbara Sue were both there. We met with Chad at the CT Academy in Elizabeth. We already have a couple applicants signed up. The Galena Territory Association, Joe Carroll Energy, and Metform, their big plant down on 84 north of Thompson. So we're going to be doing the marketing for that kicking off very soon. Beyond that, a couple interesting things are on the horizon. We finally got around to scheduling our meeting with the employers that have an interest in working with my group and transit on this scheduled bus stop loop that we've been putting together. So that will be coming up quick. And we got a request from LaHood's office, Congressman LaHood's office. So my board, along with our top members, Scott, I just saw you accepted that meeting. That'll be that's a closed meeting in our office. So that'll be coming up next month. So quite a bit of attention. I don't know if it's because of the political year, but kind of a side note, the Savannah Chamber of Commerce, we're doing Rooftop with Your Rep with Tony McCombie in a couple weeks at Sippy Side down in Savannah. So August, two, big political meetings, I guess, I'll be attending. So that's great. Any questions about anything in my report? I know we've kind of been here a while, so.
Did you say you were looking for any kind of recommendations or referrals for Gens?
Yeah, I mean, if you know of a business that might be struggling or needs some new equipment or something, the Gens Fund, it's a gap financing tool. So the two big requirements that turn applicants away is the fact we do require a business plan signed off on by the Small Business Development Center. And we also require a turn down letter from your bank. So that means you have marched into your bank and said, give me a commercial loan, and they told you no. So you need to bring that letter from your bank and your business plan. But if you have those two components, it's a pretty nice application process. Gens is very unique. There are not a lot of, I don't want to call it a grant, we call them awards, but having this as part of our core program is a fantastic thing for businesses in Joe Davies and Carroll to take advantage of. So if you have any businesses, send them my way, give me their name, I'll mail them a packet and write a little note, say, if anything in this looks familiar, call me, and then we'll do a sit down with them. I had one of those before I came up here with a Galena business. He's a fabricator and does custom work. So we've done a lot of Gens awards for social media people, hospitality people, but we've not really done anything for like a welder or anybody like in trades focused areas of business. So I'd love to do one of those. And we've never done one for successfully had an applicant out of Carroll County. So, but we're open to all businesses. So, yeah, it's a great program.
Any questions for David? Moving on, I'll report that Blackhawk Hills Regional Consulate is meeting next Monday at 6 o'clock. They have put some monies into 1-year investment in CDs, and they're reviewing some other opportunities for that. We anticipate there'll be lots of discussion at Monday's meeting for some high goals for the organization.
Diane, they have that safe roads study that they're kicking off.
Yes, I have the packet. Do you want to discuss it? Meet details on that on Monday. The studies are often helpful for infrastructure and planning, sidewalks, roads, things that monies would come through the federal government. I'll move on to LRA. They really didn't have much action. They're applying again for their annual grant that comes from the Department of Defense, the Office of Local Defense and Community Cooperation. And those monies help to fund their staff and their supplies down there. They did have a request from a farmer to farm on some of their land, and that response from the Army was turned down. Any questions about either one, LRA or Blackhawk Hills? Move on to citizen comments, and it looked like our web people have stayed on there. You're really loyal to us, so you have another opportunity for citizen comments. Tammy, do you have anything you'd like to bring forth?
Thanks, Diane, but I don't at this time.
Thank you. Christina.
Yeah, I handed out a letter to you all. I just wanted to share this with you. I received it yesterday. I will bring it up also to the ZBA tomorrow, but I wanted to provide this to you all. Let's kind of go through some of it. This is from Bill Holmes of the 13 Ravine Drive, the Galena Territory. He was aware of a pending pre-annexation agreement of a property at US 20 and 84 by the Village of Elizabeth, and he had attended that meeting where that process was determined. It said he became aware of a statement attributed to that property owner that he wanted the development process to be governed by the Village of Elizabeth rather than having to go through the county, Joe Davis County process. At the Village of Elizabeth meeting, he had learned that the Village of Elizabeth had no zoning or process, and as the village president stated, that the following enactment of the pre-annexation ordinance, he, the owner, can put anything he wants on the property. During Bill's career, which included 35 years in the municipal building and zoning areas, he had not become aware of pre-annexation agreements where the actual building and zoning authority reverts to the receiving community. He was told that there was precedent in Joe Davis County and that the city of Galena had a similar process with the hospital property. It should be noted that the city of Galena has a zoning code, and he would assume that the hospital went through what probably was a special use process. He also assumes that the city received the economic benefit of having the necessary sewer and water facilities extended to serve the property. He suggests that the hospital was a benefit to the whole of Joe Davis County. He also further suggests that the hospital property has greater probability of becoming part of Galena, and that the 2084 property has of joining Elizabeth within a reasonable time frame. Of more concern is that it is his understanding that the owner has entered into an agreement following necessary approvals that the property will be used as a heliport, offering helicopter rides around the area. The future proprietor was at the meeting, and when he suggested that the Galena Territory would be a primary site for these helicopter rides, he said most certainly. He further stated that while he would have to maintain a minimum elevation of 1,000 feet over Galena and Elizabeth because of the density, he would be able to lower to 500 feet over the territory, which qualifies as less dense. Bill doubts that it's necessary to describe the concern the territory residents would have with this interference with their normal living situation, that it should occur without their representation having restricted or prohibited the occupancy. Bill assumes that had the county maintained zoning control of the property, it would have been processed as a special use, and the territory residents would have had an opportunity for input. It's understood that IDOT to include its aviation section, and the FAA will have a process with restrictions the applicant must adhere to, but the interests of the county residents will not be addressed. In conclusion, Bill is asking that the Village of Elizabeth has no zoning or zoning process, would an occupancy such as a heliport revert to county zoning and probable special use process. So that's what he had stated. I just wanted to read that off for everybody and have it in the record. And like I said, I will bring it up to the Building Code Board of Appeals, or sorry, Zoning Board of Appeals tomorrow night. I did talk with the state's attorney. You know, we do not have any zoning jurisdiction over this once the pre-annexation is approved. The Village of Menominee also is incorporated and I don't believe has zoning, and, you know, we don't enforce our zoning there either. So it's not, you know, just a precedent with, Galena. This is just, you know, how we do operate. So just wanted to give you all that information.
Thanks so much for sharing.
And the village of Menominee has no taxes either.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So everybody moved to Menominee.
Last agenda item is board member concerns, and if we looked out at the end of the table, Bob, would you be willing to be first on board member concerns?
No concerns.
John,
No,
I have none.
John Schultz,
My only concern was when Bob was using his pearls of wisdom, I couldn't hear any of it.
he wanted to hear your pearls of wisdom about when you were a builder and you got your loans easily.
Because Bob always has good ideas, and I'd like to hear him, so he must not have turned his mic on.
Steve, do you have any concerns?
No, I don't.
I really thank you so much. This is going on. Mike, your concerns, I'm sorry.
First of all, thanks for listening to me. Please, I really, this is the academic development stuff is my heart. So please, if you have any concerns, let me address them. Don't wait to the end. And just don't wait to the end. Please let me address them now, and hopefully I can earn your vote. Second, I'm wearing the shirt today. The Elizabeth Community Fair had their 103rd, and it went awesome. They actually had rides for the first time like in 30 years. So I just want to say thanks to all the volunteers that made that awesome. So they did a great job. And then I do have a question on zoning. We kind of went too fast and I didn't want to interrupt. What's the difference between renewal and re-inspection on your report?
Oh, every year you have to pay a renewal fee. Every 2 years you have a reinspection.
And that differs from renewal in what way?
It can vary. I mean, you have a renewal, every year you have to pay a renewal fee. You might have to submit documents you do have to submit documents every year. You might have to submit other documents every 4 years. You might have, and then you'll have a re-inspection every 2 years or every other year.
So my question is only 3 renewal inspections out of 212. And there's like 600, right? So we have 300 to go to. I just don't know I don't know if your office can handle, that's a lot.
Do you want me to hire somebody else?
No, this is not against your office. I don't like the policy of paying for nothing. That's my issue, so.
I don't understand. So what are you saying?
I don't like paying to not being re-inspected. It has nothing to do with.
Do you want us to
No,
inspect you every year?
It has nothing to do with you or your office. It's our zoning policy that I have an issue with, so. That's it. And that's not news.
Oh, sorry. On this, it says renewal reinspection. That's because on this renewal reinspection, you're doing a reinspection if your renewal failed.
So how often will a guest accommodation get re-inspected? How often? They're inspected originally and they do a good job. That's awesome. But then I paid for 3 years. I've never been re-inspected. And is it every year we get re-inspected or every 2 years? Because that's what
It's every other year. So you did the first year so this year you should be out. I'll make sure that you're.
I'm sure. Nixon and the IRS, I'll be re-inspected. But my question is, there's only 3 been done. And if you do there's 600 some, so there's 300 left to go.
Oh, there's only 3 that failed and had to have a renewal re-inspection.
So the renewal,
Okay.
they've already been inspected.
And
Yes.
they've been.
Got, that was my
And they
question.
failed it, and then they
Then
had
they
to
had to be
go back.
re-inspected. Got it.
Well, my only board concern is to help build a database of what we're accomplishing so that we can clarify and put together a manual for future committee members. So I appreciate those that are reviewing the minutes. And I hope to have some clear data on the end of our comprehensive plan process, what the total bill was, the copies that we're gonna have made so that all the public libraries and the public have access, and anything else that might be helpful for the next time this comp plan is updated. There any other comments that like to add? I hear a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
It's been moved by John Lang, seconded by Lynn Gallagher to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm a 7:34.
Thank you.